Hey, it's Martin from Music and Mind. I'm a professional musician. I study psychology and I work as a systemic coach. So I'm really interested in how tools like AI affect our creativity, emotions, and habits as musicians. Let's be honest, a lot of musicians are quietly scared of AI. Some people say AI will replace musicians. Others say real art doesn't need machines. I see it differently. AI itself won't replace you, but musicians who know how to use AI might. And right now, that's a tiny group. In this video, I show you how to turn AI into your most creative ally, not as a lazy shortcut to generic music, but as a way to write braver songs, practice smarter, and make your music sound more like you, not less. When I talk to musicians about AI, in coaching sessions or backstage, I hear two reactions over and over again. Number one, this quiet fear. What if I'm suddenly not needed anymore? Number two, total avoidance. I don't want to touch this. It really kills art. And I get it. You see auto-generated tracks, AI cover group songs, type a prompt and get a beat, and it's easy to feel small and outdated. At the same time, most musicians I know are already overwhelmed. You're juggling plugins, platforms, deadlines, social media, and AI just looks like one more thing on the pile. Here's my view. AI doesn't replace your ears, your story, or your taste. It can, however, remove a lot of friction so your creativity can breathe. So you're not in competition with AI. You are in competition with your own resistance. And with musicians who use AI to move faster and think clearer. In this video, I want you to be in that second group. Before we talk about tools, let's zoom out for a second and ask, what's creativity actually? In psychology, creativity is usually defined as producing something that is new and fitting. For us as musicians, creative works often has three phases. First, collecting. You gather input, music you love, emotions, story, references. Second, playing. You experiment, combine, mess around with ideas, write sketches. Third, deciding. You choose, you edit, you commit, you finish the song or the track. Psychologically, you can see those three phases as different modes of your brain. In the collecting phase, you are mostly taking in information. In the playing phase, you are in a more associative, experimental state, what psychology could call divergence thinking. And in the deciding phase, you switch to convergent thinking. You narrow down, choose and commit. Problems arise when you mix these three modes too much. For example, trying to judge every idea immediately while we are still supposed to be playing. AI is incredibly strong in phase 1 and 2, collecting and combining. It can throw options at you all day, but it's really bad at phase 3, deciding what is honest, what is beautiful, what fits you. That's your job. That's your taste. That's your story. From a cognitive point of view, AI is like a super fast, slightly chaotic idea generator. It's great at producing variations, but it has no lived experience, no body, no history. Your emotional memory, your associations, your life story. That's what makes the deciding phase so deeply human. So instead of competing with AI on output, you can use it to widen the playground and let your nervous system decide what actually resonates. So the goal isn't AI, write me a finished song, thanks, bye. The goal is more like AI, give me a new material, raw material, so I can react, shape, and decide faster. AI creates ideas. You create music. Let's start with songwriting, because that's where most people are curious or scared. Imagine you're stuck on a verse. You know the feeling you want, but every line sounds flat or cliché. You can ask an AI tool something like, write 5 alternative verse ideas about the loneliness of touring. Make us introspective, a bit melancholic. No clichés like broken heart or on the road again. The result won't be perfect, but now you have 5 sparks instead of 1 empty page. You might steal 1 interesting metaphor, or combine 2 lines, or completely rewrite everything in your own words. The point is, you stay the author. AI just helps you move faster through the ugly first draft. Same with harmony. Let's say you have a simple progression, C, G, A minor, F. You could ask, give me 5 variations of this progression. Make it darker and more cinematic, or suggest some modal interchange ideas to make this progression more unexpected, in the style of indie rock. And then you try these options on your instrument, listen, tweak, and keep what you like. So don't ask AI for the song. Ask for 10 rough ideas so that you can make the song. AI can also support your producer brain. For example, you can describe or analyze a reference track and ask, describe the structure, energy curve, and key sound elements of this track. You might get a breakdown of where the song builds and releases, how dense the arrangement is in each section, what role certain sounds play. That gives you a blueprint you can adapt for your own music without copying. Some tools also let you search sounds using text. You might type warm soft pad like distant choir in the 80s movie, or snappy short snare, modern pop, but not too bright. You still use your ears. You scroll, tweak, and trust your taste. AI just helps you get the interesting candidates faster. Now one of my favorite areas, practice. Most musicians don't fail because of a lack of talent. They struggle with structure and consistency. You can tell an AI, I'm an intermediate jazz guitarist. I can play 2-5-1 progressions at around 120 BPM. I want to improve my ability to outline changes clearly when improvising. Create a 4-week practice plan with daily exercises, slowly increasing difficulty. You might get concrete routines, tempo suggestions, variations to avoid boredom. Is it perfect? No. But it is a structure you can refine, and having any structure is already a huge win. You also can use AI as a reflection partner. After a rehearsal, you might write, "Today I was unfocused, kept checking my phone, and got frustrated with my bandmates. I think I was actually anxious about the new songs." Then you ask, "Help me understand what might be going on psychologically, and suggest 3 concrete things I can try before the next rehearsal." It's not a therapy, but it's a low-bar way to reflect on your patterns and experiment with new behaviors. And finally, organization. Creativity needs mental space. AI can help clear some of the clutter. You can paste messy notes and ask, "Turn this into a clear task list sorted by priority for my upcoming EP release." Or, "I'm releasing a single in 6 weeks. Create a timeline with small steps for recording, mixing, artwork, distribution, and communication." You can even let it draft emails. Write a short, friendly email to a promoter asking about possible dates in May and June for my band. You always edit and approve, but you don't waste creative energy on the first rough draft. And there's another psychological effect here. Starting is often the hardest part because it triggers micro-anxiety. What if I say it wrong? What if it sounds stupid? Letting AI write the first rough version removes that initial barrier. Once something is on the page, it feels much safer for your brain to switch into editing mode instead of, "Oh no, I have to create this for nothing" mode. So far, AI sounds amazing, but there's some psychological traps you need to be aware of. The first trap is perfectionism, because AI can generate infinite variations you might never decide. One more version, maybe there's a better one. Maybe there's a better line, maybe there are better chord progressions. Or, okay, just 10 more chord ideas. Suddenly hours are gone and nothing is finished. Perfectionism is often not about wanting things to be perfect. It's about avoiding the uncomfortable feeling of deciding. Every decision closes doors, and for many nervous systems that feels risky. AI makes it very easy to delay that moment forever, because there's always one more option you could try. And that's why clear limits, time limits, and option limits are not just productivity hacks, they are a form of self-protection for your mental health. The antidote is constraint. Before you open the tool, decide a time limit. For example, 15 minutes of AI exploration, and a variation limit. For example, maximum 3 options. Then you commit. You can literally tell yourself, "I'm using AI to support my decisions, not to avoid it." The second trap, your music slowly becomes generic. If you blindly accept AI suggestions, you drift towards the average of everything the model has seen. But you're not an average. Our brains are wired to adapt to the average of what we consume. If you always follow suggestions that are based on huge datasets, you slowly move towards the statistical middle. Your personal style, though, often lives in the edges. In the slightly weird decisions, the asymmetries, the things that don't quite fit. To protect your voice, create some personal style rules. Things like, I rarely use perfect rhymes, or I love odd time signatures, or there's always one slightly wrong chord in my progressions, or my lyrics focus on small, concrete scenes, not big abstract statements. Then you can literally tell AI, here's my style rules. Please follow them when you suggest ideas. And afterward, ask yourself, where am I in this song? If you can't find yourself yet, you're not done shaping. The third trap is dependency. Thoughts like, without AI, I'm nothing. Or maybe I'm cheating. But think about it. We already use the AWs, tuners, notation software, metronomes, sample libraries. Nobody says you're not a real musician because of you tuned your guitar. AI is just the next generation of tools. If you're prone to self-doubt, it's easy to use AI as a proof that you're not good enough on your own. But psychologically, that's often an old story looking for new evidence. The healthier frame is, my value is not in doing everything the hard way. My value is in the taste and the honesty I bring to the process, no matter which tools I use. A healthy approach is to use AI in cycles, sometimes no AI at all. Just you and your instrument. Sometimes AI for the brainstorming or structure. Always you as the one who decides what stays. You're not faking your art. You're using tools to reach deeper into it. One last thing before we wrap up. Ethics. AI raises real questions. Where does the training data come from? Am I copying someone's style too closely? How honest am I about my process? My suggestion is simple. Don't use AI to imitate specific artists one-to-one. Don't pretend you did everything manual if you didn't. And don't let the tool become an excuse to stop developing your own voice. Use AI to move closer to your core as an artist, not hide from it. So, how can you start today? Pick one area: songwriting, sound design, practice, or organization, and use AI for just 30 minutes as a focused experiment. Not to make a perfect masterpiece, just to see how it changes your process and how you feel. If you want more videos that connect music, psychology, and tools like AI, consider subscribing to Music and Mind. And I would love to hear from you in the comments, even if you have another opinion. How are you using AI as a musician? Or what still scares you about it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.